They call us the Funko Pops because we're cheap and only bought by teens. Hey guys, what's up? It's Jules here for WhatCulture Gaming, joined as ever by the lovely and only Josh Brown, because I've never met another Josh Brown as equally lovely as you. I don't know any other Josh Browns at all.
I know at least 5. It's the most common name in the world. It's 2 syllables, Josh Brown, and everyone ever has it.
Wow, that's news. And do you know what? I've received that news, so let's impart some gaming news on the rest of the people, because I'm Jules, he's Josh. Let's crack on with the jingle.
What's that? There's news? Oh my gosh! Guess it's time for Jules and Josh!
Oh, right, okay, we're back in the room and there is plenty to discuss, but I'm going to go over to my more attractive co-host half and actually get him to deliver some hard, fresh facts like lemon juice in the eyes. Go.
You flatter me so much. I've got some information about the PlayStation 5 because the Wall Street Journal has done an article about what Sony are trying to do, because every other department in the Sony sort of stable is kind of like either floundering or just doing all right, whereas the PlayStation brand video games are absolutely booming. So they've been talking about what they're going to do about the next generation. It sounds like pretty much what we expected. They're going to continue making like high quality first party games. But the biggest takeaway for me out of this article was that they are going to double down on their relationships with third-party publishers, which has apparently left sort of indie developers feeling like they've been left out in the cold a little bit.
Now that surprises me a bit, because I did know that obviously Sony does have its first-party exclusives. It's one of the main reasons why you'd pick up the console. Yeah. But I just thought that they would have had a completely fine relationship. I mean, they've been in the game so long that you'd have thought that they'd be a go-to for sort of indie developers.
It's really interesting because obviously when they first launched the PS4 at their showcase, they really doubled down on how they were bringing indie games to like the platform and how they were really supporting developers, and that's never really changed. It's just sort of become less of a focus, whereas Microsoft have sort of picked that baton up and like ran with it with ID and Xbox and sort of programs like that really target the kind of the indie scene, whereas Sony, according to this anyway, they know that people go to the PlayStation, or the PlayStation become known for these like high quality, big budget exclusives. So they want to not only make more of those in-house, but they want to sort of cultivate partnerships with external publishers. Because although like they are still kind of popular, you don't really see timed exclusives or big third-party console exclusives that much anymore.
No. It's interesting as well, because I do remember reading a while back that there were some developers, and I wasn't sure if it's an indie team or not, they actually did say that they had issues with Sony because they were trying to get patches through, and apparently there's an extortionate cost in order to do patches and stuff like that with them, and they have to work in scheduling so they don't go up straight away. Like, there was a lot that was going on. They did seem a bit archaic in that. So maybe it's just a case of they need to update their policies.
Well, that's it. I mean, Sony for a long time have sort of kind of like been an island. They've been very protective of their console and who kind of like gets to use it, and like you said, this like leads to these weird costs that other publishers are sort of more, other console makers are sort of more willing to kind of be lenient on, whereas Sony being like very much so, no, if you want to get another console, you've got to jump through these hoops and you've got to sign like these dotted lines. And I don't think that really works anymore. I think we've sort of seen them get left behind when it comes to kind of crossplay or like partnerships, like the Microsoft and Nintendo partnership. I still can't believe it's happening, but I think that's such a cool avenue to go down for the future, because it does open up their spaces and games and consoles in a way that Sony is kind of only just now getting round to. So I hope they do sort of change when it comes to this sort of stance.
It's very weird because obviously they were such a leader in the sort of console game back in the day, and obviously, you know, the PS3 sold millions and millions after like having the sort of back foot. The PS2, one of the greatest consoles ever made, like the PlayStation 1, like they're no stranger to sales. It's just adapting with your times rather than just doubling down on what you
Exactly that. I mean, like according to this article, Sony only really consider Microsoft to be like their competition. They mentioned the Switch and they mentioned the Stadia. Yeah, which is kind of weird because like the Nintendo Switch especially has been doing so well, yet they don't sort of see them as a direct competitor in the same way they do Microsoft. But I guess it's because they both sort of go head to head on similar kind of like big budget games, and they both sort of like share the same relationships with third party. Like, although Nintendo has built those bridges they burnt so long ago, they're not the place you go to play the latest Doom or something like that, you know what I mean?
No, I do kind of see what you mean, but it just is strange that they don't see them as a competitor.
It is very strange.
Like the Wii and Wii U sales probably kick their ass in terms of like that.
I mean, yeah. Well, not the Wii U, but definitely the Wii.
Definitely the Wii. But yeah, I mean, speaking of games, actually, let's talk about the new GTA game that's apparently coming out. Have you heard about this?
Interesting. The new GTA game?
Well, this is the thing. You gotta take this.
Come on.
Take this all with a pinch of because basically I'm going to give you some fresh rumours from the rumour mill. I'm cranking them out today. So basically, on Reddit, it is the source of all sort of leaks and wish lists and stuff like that. There was one that captured some attention where this guy called Jack-O-Lantern1982, classic name there, said that they have got 2 friends that are working on the inside for companies like Kotaku and PC Gamer. They were clear to say like that and then listed 2 places, so clearly just finger and nose to us. And also said that they have an air quotes dear friend working inside Rockstar that gave some information about the potential new GTA game that may be coming out.
Interesting.
Would you like to hear some details about it?
Yes, please.
So apparently it's going to be, it's been in development since 2012, a year before GTA 5 came out.
Okay.
So, they were basically working on that. And it's going to be set in Vice City and a fictional location based on Rio de Janeiro and set in the late 70s and early 80s. Now, there was a lot of details there, and you can go and look out the Reddit link for yourself because I won't bore you just in case it is a massive hoax. But the only interesting things in that I really stuck out were that weather was going to be a big focus on it. There was going to be storms and stuff like that that would come in and wreck things. But also, eras was going to be a focus of the game, as in, as time progressed, buildings would change.
That's cool.
And cars that were available in the 70s would become less and less phased out and would actually become more expensive as they become antiques. That, as a concept, should be in the next GTA. I would love that, actually. Yeah. But out of all of that, there was one line that actually stuck out to me more than anything else. And that was when in the comments section somebody said, "Oh, have you got any news on Bully though? I know all this GTA stuff is good." And he just goes, and this is the exact quote that we've got here, "Yes, players Jimmy, you're a freshman, university, that's all I got told about that." now that one line there is more exciting to me than probably the previous one, because yeah, we know we're going to get another GTA game, but the Bully franchise has been one that's been left up in the air for so long.
Well, that's it. It was such a big cult classic, and Rockstar have never returned to it for whatever reason. Maybe it's because of the controversy they caught back then. And we have heard rumours over the past few years that they are revisiting it. It's interesting that Jimmy is mentioned as the potential protagonist there, because I thought they were going to swap it, or at least that's what some of the...
It's interesting because the voice actor who played Jimmy, he came out and just said, "Well, I've never been approached for this role." So and GTA have, Rockstar have proved that they do go back to their voice actors. I mean, Red Dead 2, hearing John Marston's voice actor and Dutch's actor, I was like, wow, they actually care enough to go and get these guys back. So it does seem that loss of quality, if you are playing as Jimmy, might be. I mean, to be fair, it is possibly very, very full of crap. But I do enjoy the fact that potentially a game made by Rockstar set at university would actually be brilliant. Yeah. Because if you think about it, like if it's the American university system, then you'd have like pledges. And so you do like weird tasks for those sort of people there. Like pranking people is like a big thing there.
This might, people might hate this idea, right? Yeah, but have you seen the movie Bad Neighbours? Starring
with
Seth Rogen and Zac Efron.
Yeah.
You know what, right? I secretly love that little franchise, and I would take it if this Bully 2 is just that, but you play as Zac Efron.
Yeah, just messing with people.
Just messing with your neighbours and stuff.
I'd play with that. The only thing as well that might actually work in their favour is one of the weird bits of the game in the original Canis Canem edit, as it was here in the UK, was the fact that you could go up and just like kiss girls. Do you remember that?
I do remember it.
Yeah, you just
coming back to it.
And then it was one of those things where retroactively people are like, that's a bit problematic because you're basically pressuring some sort of situation to happen there.
Bro.
Removing it from a school thing and putting it into university and making it a bit more sort of like the girls are a bit older or whatever that might make things a little bit easier, but they probably should stay away from that bit if there's one bit of advice.
That's interesting because I mean, like, even if you put it in a university setting, it's going to be interesting how a game like that sort of works in like the current climate, because like there's a lot of stuff that you could do in that game that I got away with because it was a bit cartoony, graphics weren't as developed, it was way more tongue-in-cheek, and I don't know if you can still sort of do the same things without drawing further controversy. I don't know. I do like the idea that GTA might be set across time periods, because in the last rumour it was the fact that they were going to like put in all these different cities from previous games.
Yes.
And I thought that might be a mistake, but if you do it era by era and saw how they develop. I'm a big fan of that, I'm a big fan of that.
But as I really clearly need to state that it is just a rumour at this point, because I'm not gonna lie, there was a thing that broke 2 days ago that was saying that it was gonna be set in Liberty City and it was gonna be like based on The Wire. Like you could got one that's basing itself on Narcos and the other one that's gone Wire. You can't have both.
In the hierarchy of like gaming rumours, I think there is Rocksteady's next game where they just keep coming out every week, then it's GTA 6 and we have no idea what is true, but that would Be awesome.
I like it when you get ideas like this because I wonder if it inspires developers. Like, I know that it's probably too late in the day if you are working on this, but imagine like going across a few Reddit threads and being like, that is a great feature to add to this game.
We'll put it in.
Yeah, maybe we'll put it in.
Creators across all mediums, I think, look to the internet now and sort of like, for better or worse, kind of react to what they're saying. So in a game as big as GTA, and a game that's in development for as long as that, maybe they do.
I'll tell you what, if they don't use that, let's make a game ourselves, like Dodgy Dave's Auto Trader Center for Life, whatever. We'll have
That's
that.
already better.
We'll have that, and what we'll do is we'll just trade cars through eras.
Yeah.
Just be the auto trader.
We can stream it. We can get out the little truck stop thing that we had before.
And it would just be like, and it'll have a guy with a big cigar, and he'd be like, I tell you what, mate, I'll give you a good deal on this scrap. I tell you what, I sound like Ben Roy.
You do sound like Ben Roy. Jules, I've got some less exciting news for you. Well, it's exciting, but it has wider implications on the industry as a whole, because so far, although people like me and you keep saying that loot boxes and microtransactions are effectively gambling even though they're legally not, we haven't had any definitive proof until potentially now. Because the Royal Society Open Science Research, sort of like their journal, they've published an article titled, I don't want to get anything wrong, so I apologize for keep this down. The article is titled Adolescents and Loot Boxes, Links with Problem Gambling and Motivations for Purchase. And this study was a survey study with 1,155 people aged 17 to 18-year-olds. And they did actually find a relationship that loot boxes are associated with sort of like hard addictive gambling.
Interesting.
The final sentence of the abstract, you should all go read it. You can read the full thing. It's a bit dry, but it's very, very interesting. It reads, overall, these results suggest that loot boxes either cause problem gambling among older adolescents, allow companies to profit from adolescents with gambling problems for massive monetary rewards, or both. So essentially they're saying that while it might not legally be gambling to, buy into loot boxes, it either affects people who are already, on the cusp or might have an addictive personality to go into something else, or might act as a sort of almost gateway drug to harder gambling, which is, I don't know, it's fascinating to me because every single time the loot box debate comes up, you obviously publishers like EA push back and say very, very like party line, it's not gambling. Like there's no proof that's gambling. This doesn't break any laws. And this is sort of saying that while yes, it might not technically be it has the same formal qualities of gambling and leads to the same end result essentially.
Surely you just then redefine the terminology to accept that it is under a form of gambling. I mean, what we're basically arguing over here is like, do you call a stick a stone, whatever? Like it's just a terminology, like go and change the lexicon and you make it illegal that way. Like if that's the defined term, then change the defined term. It's so silly that we're having this argument where you've got somebody basically standing up there and being like, this exact thing that looks and acts like gambling but just has a completely different name is not gambling because we've come up with the concept and terminology for it.
That's it. I mean, these practices weren't around when like those terms were made. You know what I mean? Like they're supposed to be fluid and they're supposed to change, and yet they don't because this didn't exist before, so you can't slot it into the same.
As a core concept, even stuff like sticker packs and like those, anything collectible that's a toy, like that is affecting the same part of gambling in the brain because you don't know what you're buying, but you are buying it regardless.
Yes, exactly.
And it is building in a mentality that you get a reward for doing something that you don't know about. It's prevalent across society in so many different ways, and I genuinely just hope that people who do have a problem with this can actually get the support, because it's one thing that's not talked about at all is aftercare from this, because if people do have the addictive personality and it is acting in this way, then I'm really hoping that those people can find
Exactly. I mean, it's literally in your home, and I know you obviously can gamble online and stuff, but this is sort of in like I guess the senator who kind of wants to put through the legislation to kind of ban them outright is saying that if you just sort of normalize these practices and these patterns of behavior from a young age, then it makes it easy to jump from that to something else. The article, it's worth reading. It does say that obviously it's not concrete proof. It's just defining a relationship between one thing and another. It's not saying it's a correlation, not causation, essentially. And it's it was mainly Reddit participants. So
interesting. So maybe it could be skewed or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it'll be people who play these games like hardcore and stuff, not necessarily like every single person who plays like one of these games. So there are some like issues with it, obviously, but it's still interesting that like studies, official scientific studies are being made and are starting to come out like that encourage further studies into it, because it seems to be that there is a relationship there.
Well, just to wrap up on your point, we'll talk about stuff that's emerging, and now we'll talk about stuff that's been taken away, because I've got two things for you. One is from Call of Duty, which is just a really weird thing that they're doing at the moment, in that local co-op split screen for the Blackout mode has just been taken away.
Brilliant. Why do they keep doing this all the time?
There's been no causality as to like what's triggered this. They're not saying that it's to do with a patch. They're not saying anything. They're literally, the devs are just being quiet on the fact that players are just going, so I want to play Blackout with my friend sitting next to me on this couch, and this feature was in the game, and you have just taken it out of. How does somebody take a feature out of the game?
I thought we were getting away from this, man, because like for a long time, local co-op was sort of just, you know, banished. People said they couldn't do it, and obviously the reality was they wanted people to buy more copies. But now I thought Black Ops, especially in Call of Duty, is starting to put it back into their multiplayer game modes, and now they're just ripping it out as if you don't know it.
The thing is, I find it weird that they had it in there and they're taking it out.
Yeah.
That takes a systematic effort to take something out of it. I mean, it could be a bug, but on this scale and to go on for this long, it seems very strange. There's been a lot of people speculating that maybe, remember a while back we said that this the Blackout might become its own standalone thing.
Yeah.
They might be doing this so that they can start ushering in they're changing the sort of mechanics of the core of how it works, so that then they can release it standalone and it won't have an online co-op feature, not a local split screen feature, because it never had it.
It's just,
you know what I mean?
Like the way Activision like sort of treat Black Ops, especially post-launch, like the game that a lot of people reviewed at launch and stuff isn't the game that it is now.
Nope.
Like little features like this, whether they're introducing loot boxes or like taking actual features away, it's just so crappy, man. Like it just punishes the people who are sticking around.
Yeah.
Like this doesn't benefit anyone. It doesn't entice people to come to the game.
Not at all.
It just punishes people who have actually stuck with it for the long run, and it's like, why would I trust you to buy the next one?
Well, speaking about punishing people in the long run, this is my final bit of news here. So Pokémon Sword and Shield has come out, and there's been quite a lot of talk recently about the fact that the developers made an interesting choice, that for the first game ever in this franchise, you will not be able to take all of your Pokémon from one of the previous regions through to the next one, as in they're not making the roster. They've actually cut Pokémon for the first time. That is a very weird thing, because a lot of people, if you're like Gen 1 or Gen 2, like me and you, like we might have played the entire game through and just imported our data and team from all the way there. But that might not be a possibility for some now, which obviously caused a bit of outcry.
Definitely.
So the devs finally put out a statement on it, and it is not what you think it will be, because everyone was just like, well, they'll just add it back in. Surely this is just an oversight. And they've just gone like, nope, sorry, we made this cut and we're sticking to our guns. And literally they just go, we hear you crying and hear you moaning about it, but we're sticking to our guns.
It's not like a good response.
They even tried to turn it into a positive spin for a future purchase. They said that you might not find your favorite Pokemon in this game, but that doesn't mean that they won't appear in another Pokemon game in the future. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
thank you. Okay, so I'll just skip this one and wait for the one.
Like you're waiting for like Sword and Shield Ultimate that'll have a feature that adds them all back in. They'll do a marketing thing like this.
This has been so frustrating, because I genuinely thought we were like past practices like this.
Yeah,
you know
I mean, when you've got a roster that's, I don't know, like you'll have to correct me. I assume it's about 500 to 600 Pokemon based on the amount of games that we've had. Why not just keep adding more? At this point now, the concept of gotta catch them all is ridiculous. So why not just double down on the fact and then just make it even more insane?
In an era when Nintendo are also releasing Super Smash Brothers, have released it and just had every character you could possibly want. Yeah. And I don't know why they're doing this, Jules.
Just completely bizarre. But yeah, that's been the news in our little roundup. Let us know down below what you think about any of these topics, including which Pokemon you wish you could carry forward. Are you annoyed about the Black Ops split screen being taken out? Are you annoyed about the loot boxes? And if so, what have you read this article that Josh has been talking about? And the PS5 and GTA / bully stuff. I mean, there's a lot of news there. There's a lot of news going on. It hit you hard after a long weekend. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. As always, I've been Jules. You can follow me at RetroJ with a 0 over on Twitter. And
I've been Josh. You can follow me at Josh Broom with 2 O's over on Twitter.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Take it easy, guys. Bye.